Thank you for your patience. We're going to get started. I'm not going to play any music because while that's cool for YouTube, it's not cool for IG, apparently. I did not know that. I can't have the music playing. No, I cannot have the music playing because the Prince Rogers Nelson's estate and the Warners, actually it sounds like the Warners are having issues with me playing music. But anyway, let's start the show. I've been a fan of Prince probably all my life. I'm 45 years old. And I recall going to see Purple Rain when it was running in the theaters because my older sister took me, my younger sister, and my older sister to the movies to see Purple Rain in the theaters. And it was live, and it was raunchy in parts, and there was stuff I didn't know. And then it was me wondering, why is Apollonia's titties out? And then it was me like wondering, what are titties? And what is Prince doing to them? Then it was Prince eating Doritos, waking up and then kissing people. Then it was the music. And then it was my oldest sister getting her bedroom painted the color purple. It's Prince in all his glory. That's the awesome thing about Prince. And so what we're going to do, we're going to break down the majesty of his royal badness, talk about his life, his times. I was going to play some music, but the Warners don't want me to do that. But we can still have a good show either way. And we're gonna have a great Shawn Show. No intro music because I honestly didn't plan for it. But let's get it started with bringing in so we can keep our show going. Ira Davis, are you there? Dr. Davis, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, brother. How about you?
I'm well, sir. Is what we say Ramadan Mubarak?
Ramadan Mubarak. Yes.
I got it. I might sing for y'all later. That's a karaoke. But
you gonna sing the spots?
I might have to sing the spots.
All right.
because you know them damn Warners.
Hey, when you go edit it for YouTube, you probably can put the music in the background.
I can put the music in the background. Now here's the thing. I don't know if I'm that smart to know how to put the music in the background.
Yeah.
But with that said, but I got you here because, you explain issues for us.
Right.
What issue, Prince-related issue, are you going to try to explain for us today?
I'm going to explain the final analysis of his will.
What will?
I mean, his estate.
I'm about to say, you about to explain some serious-ish.
I mean, his estate, the breakdown of his estate.
Okay. All right. This is Ira Explains the Issue with Prince's estate. Now, Dr. Davis, can you do this in 120 seconds or less?
I think I can, brother.
All right. You on the
ready?
Let's go.
All right. So according to ABC News, the final valuation of Prince is $156.4 million as determined by the Internal Revenue Service and the estate's administrator, America Bank and Trust. The artist has also accepted the figure. The legal battle over Prince's estate ended in January. Prince died in 2016 without lawyers and consultants were paid tens of millions of dollars to administer his estate and implement a plan for his distribution. Two of Prince's 6 heirs died during this time. In the end, the estate was almost evenly divided with no funded music company, Primary Wave, and the 3 eldest of the music heirs or their families. taxes on Prince's fortune will run into the tens of millions of dollars. And that is the ish on Prince.
Maybe not the ride. Oh boy, you got that in like you gotta have about a whole 40 seconds left to spare.
All right.
Whew, you did it. You explained the issue with Prince and his will or lack of will at his estate issue. But can you explain this?
What's up, brother?
Why Prince cast a non-white woman, or why he cast a white woman to be his mother in Purple Rain when his mom was black?
I have no earthly clue, bro. He was trying to get that crossover appeal. I don't know.
In 1984, they had crossover appeal in 1984. They had crossover appeal in 1984.
Yeah, they were pop.
You know, you did half the job today. I thought you would explain the ish, and I would usually play some music for you, but it's all about Prince music. We can't play nothing but Prince music, and we can't even play that. So we're gonna celebrate Prince in silence. Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Thank you, brother.
Come on. Whew. That Ira Davis, know he can explain some issues, right? Now, here's something that the Warners can't do. They can't stop me from playing a little montage off of their website. I can't play it. I can't play it. They keep kicking me off. But that's the thing about Prince. It was always some exclusivity with Prince, wasn't it? It was a matter of like, you had to buy stuff to get to him. And we're going to have Hanif Omar, who's also teaching economics at Shawn University. He's going to come in and talk about the economics of Prince, how he changed the music industry that we see it as we know it today, how he's a visionary, and how nothing compares to the man that we used to call the artist, formerly known as Prince. Nothing. But before we do that, I'm going to bring in someone who could talk about her concert appearance. And that's my sister, Jawanda Durham.
Hello. I'm back, peeps. I'm back.
Hey, Wanda.
Interesting enough to come back. Wonderful. Hey.
Hey, sis. By the way, before we begin, it is the eve of my sister's birthday, who you see right here. This is Jawanda. She's out in LA. Because she's, as I asked everyone to try to wear something respectful in the name of Prince, she couldn't find any purple, but she has black.
I have a purple water bottle.
Okay.
And a purple Pilates ball for working out. So purple is in my life, just unfortunately not in my clothes. I almost wore the black bandana to cover my eye like Prince, you know, like a little sheer headscarf, but I didn't think that was necessary.
Well, I got one better for you. My fish tank is purple.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Your setup is really nice. Jack Johnson's looking good back there. It's really good.
Yeah, Jack looks good. So if Jack is on camera, that means there's a Shawn Show going on. Now, the reason why I brought you on here, baby sister, is because not only to wish you early happy birthday, but because you saw one of the last most epic Prince concert tours.
Thank you, my Bill 04. Happy birthday.
I brought you on because you saw one of the best concert tours. You saw Prince 10 years ago, Madison Square Garden. It looked like you had lower level seats at the Garden.
I had good seats.
Okay,
I was in the 200 section. So if you've been to the Garden, there's the floor 100, you know, that fills up. I wasn't balling like that. And honestly, those tickets were not that expensive. I felt like I paid under $300 to get in that 2 section. So I just think I grabbed them at the right time.
Your ticket said you were in the 100 section.
I Well, I was in the 100 that was up. So there's like a floor, and then there was the 100 that's true. That's true. I was in the 100, but like the stadium seating part of it. So yeah. I sent the ticket because, a lot of people lie these days, and I want journalism, I want everything to be accurate, you know what I'm saying? So I went to the show. Oh, look at this one in his own flag.
Yeah, by the way, folks, Ty, my wingman Ty is on the show. We had some technical difficulties, Ty, because
early birthday.
Let me tell you something, Ty. I thought I got one past the Warners. I looked up the YouTube and what we could do with music, and they were like, shoot, it's okay as long as you don't make no money off of it. Instagram and Warner Brothers were like, what the hell you think you about to do? And they kept kicking me off. So we'll make it work.
Don't mind me. Just got the new studio, so trying to get everything straight. I'm working on it.
Sing any Prince songs as well?
Hey, you know what? Y'all gonna be mad at me tonight.
Are you singing
mad
tonight?
at me tonight, huh?
Are you gonna do some singing tonight?
Nope, not at all. I don't know how to break it to y'all.
Oh, you about to break out of here? You got a backpack on. You about to get out of here?
No. This is I don't know, shoulder straps. I don't know how to break it to y'all, but I was not a Prince fan until he passed.
Oh, you're the worst, Ty.
Wow. What a waste of all those years of your life where you could have enjoyed him a lot.
I know.
I mean, I guess better late than never.
You a bandwagoner.
Yo, no.
8-year-old
Ty had to make a choice. Prince or Michael Jackson.
You didn't have to make a choice.
You didn't have to make no damn choice.
Listen, I know.
Prince
I know.
and a Michael Jackson poster in her room. So I don't know who told you that misinformation.
I've been listening to Prince all day, every day. I know. I'm sorry.
That's interesting.
It's gonna be interesting, especially in our second hour when we bring our Prince files up to really go through all the crates. And what's your crate's gonna be? The damn hits and B-sides album?
I'm here to learn. I'm here to take the bashing for everyone else who's in the same boat as me. But I'm wearing my black. I got the McAllen in celebration. Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. All right, so Ty is here, folks. So it's a Shawn Show, and he's drinking, and I got something next to me. And Wanda's looking at us both. So it must be the first episode all over again.
Gosh, it is. Except I don't have braids in. Au naturel right now.
No, your hair looks great. You look really good, Wanda. But let's talk about you later. Let's talk about Prince. I got 5 more minutes.
That was quick.
Let's talk about
that was quick. That was quick.
FYI, Prince died on my niece's birthday. So my aunt's birthday is the 19th, mine is the 20th, and our niece's birthday is the 21st. And she says to me, man, forever, people are going to think about Prince dying on my birthday. And I was like, yep, better you than me.
Yep,
I'm glad it was a couple hours later because it would have been my birthday.
And
our older sister's birthday is next week.
My sister's birthday is April 4th. So every year I say happy anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination.
Yep, that's Ty Wilson for you guys.
Better for you. Hitler was born on April the 20th.
Hey, real quick, before we get into the concert, Wanda, and your experience, Ty, you're colorblind. So did you struggle to figure out what's a black shirt? Have you figured that out?
I know what's black. I had a shirt that I think is purple, but I didn't want to bring it up.
Go get it. Let's see if it's purple.
Because everything is gray to a colorblind person, isn't it? It's all like gray.
No. I can see them. I just can't separate them.
Oh, so you can't tell what the shirt is? Then.
No. I can see the colors. I can't separate the colors. So like the little charts with the dots, and you're supposed to see a number. I can see the colors, but I don't see the number. I can't separate the colors to see a number like y'all can.
Okay.
I know you guys can't serve in the military.
I think my yoga mat is purple. Is that purple?
That's not purple, Ty. That's blue.
Blue. Yeah.
You're close, though. You're close. Blue got some purple. Purple got some blue in it.
Blue, violet, but I don't think that one has that purple leaning towards it. Sorry.
Well, let's get
I'll keep the black.
Yeah, you keep the black.
Keep the black.
If you thought that was purple, then you were a little off. Wanda, so you went to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena.
I went on one of the most popular nights.
Isn't it all a popular night? What are you talking about? It was so
Prince Prince had a thing when he would call celebrities up on the stage who were in the background. And that was in the night that Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries came on the stage. And she wouldn't dance. And Prince grabbed her hand and escorted her off the stage and said, "Get off." And the next day in the news, everybody's like, Prince threw off, kicked off Kim Kardashian. And
that goes back to the Chris Rock joke said, "Poor Kim Kardashian, all that ass and don't know how to shake it."
I was there that night. And I was also there in the Misty Copeland dance to the Beautiful Ones. So I got a lot of good stuff that happened in that show. So.
All right. Well, so tell us how did it go? Like I remember you telling us the family, because I never got to see Prince. I think you're the only one who saw Prince, although we're big Prince fans. I could always get tickets to the Time. I've seen the Time twice.
What you mean you never seen no Prince?
What did he say? Who never seen Prince? Listen, I went by myself because it was just one of those things. I was asking my friends, "Hey, do you want to go see Prince at Madison Square Gardens?" It was like a weeknight, and they just kind of were like, "Oh, I don't know." I was like, forget that. I'm not missing that opportunity. So I went ahead, bought my ticket. I was selling insurance at the time, still trying to act and stuff in New York. And I remember leaving the office early to get to Madison Square Gardens. I used to work in Jamaica, Queens. And the problem that Prince had was that he had too many songs. And he even said it in the middle of the show, like hour 2, he was like, "Man, I got too many songs," because he couldn't sing the entirety of any song. The only song he sold probably from beginning to end was Purple Rain. Everything else, you got like 30 seconds, and then you didn't get albums. Like, you didn't get anything from Batman, And there's a couple of songs on Batman soundtrack that are like some of my favorite Prince songs, but I knew he wouldn't get it.
So he gave you a bunch of medleys, but he didn't give you the full, most of his old hits.
That is correct.
But
he just couldn't.
Well, he can still give you a full song. He can't give you a full Adore. Well, I guess he can't do it now, but
Well, he can't do any of that now. But he did do Adore. He did like the first verse and like the chorus, and everybody's singing along, "Truly Adore You" and all that. But like, he just could not give you a full song. The only one that was like that was Purple Rain, and I felt like he gave us a lot of the Beautiful Ones, which is one of my favorite Prince songs because it's just so smart. But a lot of Prince music is extremely smart. So, But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Ty,
I have to say.
Ty, getting on the Prince bandwagon after his death, what's that like as an entry point? Like, where do you start? Do you just watch Purple Rain for the first time? Was it your first time watching Purple Rain?
No, it was not my first time watching Purple Rain.
Okay. But Purple Rain didn't make you a Prince fan.
It did, but it was a long time ago. So I just remember being a little kid, and then in our environment, Prince just wasn't, talked about a lot, not even in the house. It was like everything but Prince. We were like a Michael Jackson house instead.
Yeah,
but even watching Purple Rain, you didn't like go, "Wow, this soundtrack," because Purple Rain was not good acting. Let's put that out there.
Right.
Clarence
Except Morris Day.
Morris Day was the best, and then I felt like Clarence gave that drama, but it wasn't like a very well-written story. The soundtrack really moved the movie along. So even that didn't make you go, "Oh man, what is this Purple Rain everybody keeps saying?"
No, like honestly, I didn't have an appreciation for his talent until after he passed. Honestly, like, to be honest, and I learned about his, his catalog, and the amount of music that he didn't get to put out was probably more music than anyone else put out. And I was like, man, like, dude, this dude can play every instrument. Like, this dude is really, really, really talented.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't look at him, straight in the eyes. You know what I mean? Because,
I'm not going to judge you because I didn't watch The Wire.
I
didn't watch The Wire until it was off the air.
This is what I say.
Hey.
Yeah, just had to say that real quick.
Prince could steal your man and your girl.
Oh boy, Billy the manager. I got facts. I don't need phone.
Right.
Nobody digs your music but yourself.
And what does it say? This is the business. You ain't too far gone to see that yet.
Yeah.
Understood what that line meant until I got older. I was like, what does he mean? You never too far gone and see that yet. Like, I never could get that.
Wonder how long was the show?
Oh, I mean, Prince did do an encore number. I do remember that. And then he said at the end, y'all, I got to go. They're going to turn off the lights. So I'm going to say it was about 2.5 hours, maybe.
Did he have anyone open for him?
I do not remember an opener. I mean, that was a long time ago, but I don't feel like Prince had an opener other than perhaps his band was playing a little bit of music, I think, before he came on. I do remember when Prince changed and he had on all gold, he like came up the stage and he looked like an Oscar. I remember that. I was like, Prince is like an Oscar, a little golden statue, you know, so. Hello.
He's probably the size of an Oscar too.
Body Butter Bakery.
Yes. This is
hello, Ty.
Hey, what's going on, Kim?
Yeah, this is Kim. Kim, that's my sister, Jawanda.
I remember. Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well as well. You look amazing. Your skin is flawless.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Wanda, what's your biggest takeaway from the show before we let you go?
I think the biggest takeaway with watching Prince was that there probably is a detriment for writing too much music. I honestly feel like even Prince realized, because it was so many decades of music from the 70s into current time, that he realized this is almost impossible. I might have to just do like 2 albums or something to give people the feel. And I could see it was a little overwhelming to him. I mean, what a problem to have too much material. But as a fan, you know, there's some albums you just couldn't get certain things off of because Prince had such a huge catalog. And that was only the downside. The main thing was that he was flawless. His voice was amazing. He danced. He wasn't wearing heels anymore. He was more in like those stacked kind of sneaker-like shoes he was wearing at that time. And he moved extremely well. And he looked really beautiful. Prince is just a beautiful little statuette man. You know, his skin looked flawless from where I was sitting. And yeah.
He looked better than Jasmine Guy from A Different World?
But they don't look that much alike now. Did you see her on the show Harlem? Did she ever look like Prince?
No. She don't look like anything like that. She wish she looked like Prince now. But talking about back in the Different World days, they did sort of look
the
similar.
Different World days, they probably were a little more similar. But I think that, and then just being a part of history, you know, I missed so many great performers and never got to see Michael Jackson live. You know, I just felt like, wow, I really accomplished a lot in my musical endeavors as a fan to see Prince on stage. So that was my biggest takeaway.
Not a lot of people can say that.
True. That is true.
Well, back before I was really good at the internet, I mean, those tickets always got gone. He would just pop up in cities and the shit would sell out in 7 minutes. And that's not an exaggeration. And so I regret not seeing Prince. But I still do it, Wanda, just to make sure my voice is still intact.
Oh, no. Please don't do it for them.
Give us a demonstration.
That's to make sure that I don't have a cold and my voice still works. So you can't take me off the air with that shit, Warner. Ha!
It's amazing how fast they can take something copyright, you know, down immediately. But people can get online and say, I'm going to kill someone, I'm going to do this. And that stuff can stay up there for weeks and months. But if I post a workout video with some music on it, it won't play in 10 seconds. So I'm just always amazed at how that happens, you know. But I got it.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing your Prince memories. Any last statements about Prince before we let you go and you go celebrate your birthday?
I celebrate it tomorrow, but if you're not a Prince fan, you know, there was a decade I think you can ignore a block of music. But if you could go back to the 70s and then, you know, go through to the early 90s, you're going to find that it's going to take you a couple of months just to go through the music, and you'll find the niche of Prince that fits you, because Prince fit a lot of different personalities of people who like music. So that I would like to say. So.
I can tell you exactly when his music took a turn, and that's gonna be discussed more in the Shawn Says essay at the end of the show. But we're not going to get into that now. We'll get into it more with the Prince files, so will come up later. We're going to say goodbye to you, Wanda. God bless you.
Good night.
Be safe tomorrow. And
I will.
We're going to talk to Kim.
Hello. Yes.
Hey, Kim.
Hi.
So, you look great in black. Well, you look
Thank
great.
you. I don't, you know what? I don't own any purple. Purple isn't my color, so it had to be black.
Okay. All right. Ty found some black, but you know he can't figure out.
That's all he got. Ty wear black every time.
He can't figure out what's purple or not. You know.
He was close with the mat. He was close.
That shit was not close.
It was close.
You know what's closer?
Color.
You know what's closer to purple? The live button up top of the screen.
No.
It's
That-
closer.
That's red,
Okay.
right?
It's a reddish.
See,
How the hell do you know?
okay. See?
I was guessing.
Somebody like, see his ass less. I was guessing. It's like a fuchsia. It's more like a fuchsia. Kim,
Yes,
we took a break, and before we took a break, you said you'd have some new product.
Mhm.
Do you have any new product?
I do. Not the one I was expecting to share with you, but I do have a new product. Yes.
All right. I'm not gonna fuss at you about your own business.
Thank you.
What you got? What you got going on?
I have body scrubs. And it's pretty much the same scents I had as the whipped body butter, but just something to exfoliate the dead skin off. And I have 5 different sizes. I have a small quarter type size, and I have Big Mama right here, 20 ounces.
Well, let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
What's the point of the quarter size? Who needs that little body butter? Like 8 ounce body?
If you don't want to invest this much, I mean, it's your first time, you don't know if you'll like it or not. So you just want a little pinch to see if you like the scent or you like the texture. And then you come back later and buy a bigger size.
Smart.
Look at Ty right there. Talking about smart.
Smart. I'm looking at the body scrubs right now. You know what I mean?
Yep, he's on the computer. It's good to have Ty back.
I'm sure during the break he has a
Look
computer
at
with him
that.
at all times.
All right, so I'm gonna put your website in here, Kim. Bodybutterbakery.com,
Yeah.
and you have new body scrubs.
Hmm. I don't have the masculine scents yet, but I will be getting Agua and Debonair.
Oh, I don't need the masculine sense.
Okay, all right.
No,
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
He's
All
not
right.
I'm
joking.
joking.
He's not joking.
Leave him alone.
He's not joking at all.
What's going on?
So tell us the flavors. The scents
Yeah,
that
you don't want to
have.
eat these now. Pina colada, strawberries and cream,
Mango pineapple.
mango
apple
pineapple,
honey,
champagne apple
champagne
honey. Of course, lemon pound cake.
Salud. What's that?
Salud is smells like berries and champagne.
Mm.
Well, she's classy. You know,
Very
like,
much
Okay.
so.
salute,
Okay.
salute.
Don't forget the pinky out. Got to put the pinky out.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, Wanda, she was supposed to tell me her top 7 albums, but she was telling me she had a tough time figuring it out. Kim,
Yeah,
do
it's a
you
lot.
have? Huh?
Not just say 7 albums is a lot.
Well, Prince made 40 studio albums and like 15 to 20 specialty albums.
Mhm.
So there's
Yeah.
60 to choose from.
I couldn't name more than maybe 2.
Yeah.
You could name
So-
it 2?
I'm in the
Yeah.
same boat, Kim. I was
Yeah.
actually joking about that earlier.
That's because Ty fell in love with Prince
And
yesterday.
you put that challenge in there to name the top 7 albums, and I was like 7. I was gonna guess at Purple Rain, but then I did the research, and I was like, he's been putting out albums since '78,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I really had no clue. My bad.
So where were you? What were you doing? Were you in like a super religious household or?
You know what? I really can't explain it. I
Okay.
really can't explain it.
All right.
It just, I mean, it was there, but it wasn't like a focus.
No, they were a Michael Jackson household, Kim. They weren't
Yeah,
a Prince
we were a
household.
Michael Jackson.
But
household.
still, you knew that people created some imaginary rival between the two, so you knew he
I did
existed.
know.
You didn't want to see what all the fuss was about. And just never really. You were like, we got Michael. We don't need nobody else.
We got Michael, and that's
It was
it.
kind
That
of,
is it.
it was
That is
kind of
it.
like that. It was
Okay,
kind of
all right.
like that, honestly.
All right, fair enough. Well, I wouldn't consider myself a Prince fan because I think that's an insult to actual fans who know everything inside out. But I do like some of his songs. I just don't know enough to be like, he's a favorite.
Like Shawn.
Yeah, yeah, we're
that
two
know
different
all the
worlds.
ad libs and everything.
Yeah, I don't know all of that. No.
Yeah, the ad libs are great.
No, the discography.
The discography. Yeah, I mean,
it could be like, hey, from 83 to 93.
So it's gonna get really geeky come the next hour, and we're gonna have maybe a little karaoke and some trivia and some other things thrown in there this next hour that's coming up. But just wanted to get Kim up here, show her lovely face, so she can pay her respects. And it's bodybutterbakery.com. Buy some stuff. I put it in there. But she has new body scrubs. Yep. So she got a new product. We're still waiting on those fancy schmancy masculine oils.
I got scammed. I think I got scammed. I'm gonna have to file a dispute because I don't have my label yet.
Well, that's what you get ordering shit from China.
I wanted them to be nice.
Via Ukraine. like China said, we gotta get this shit from Ukraine and then we gotta send it to you. And Kim's still waiting for labels.
I tried. Because it just gives it that look. I need that look. I need that top shelf look. I don't want plastic labels on those.
You want the top shelf look because you got a top shelf product. You should do that. Like Prince says, you got the look. So
goodness, we're gonna
do it. It's probably gonna be like that all night. But you got the look, so you need to keep it going, keep it up.
Okay, all right.
Don't get cheap.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, Kim.
Yes, sir. Good night.
Good night.
See you later, Kim.
All right. We're off to a rocking start. We got to talk about the business of Prince real quick with our boy Hanif Omar. As soon as I find him. Hanif, you there? Yeah, we're going to pull him up. He's an economics teacher at Shaw University. And he talks about a number of things, and he's a big Prince fan. And it's funny. So we talk about Prince people and Michael Jackson people. It feels like there's an either or. I think we can both love each other wonderfully, but there seems to be, you're forced to make a decision. And we see Hanif pop up here. What do you think about that, Hanif? Prince people and Michael Jackson people. What do you think about that? Oh, he's freezing a little bit. Well. Let's see, Michael Jackson whistles and snaps.
Nah, man, nah.
So Ty, what's your favorite Michael Jackson stuff? Do you have a list of Michael Jackson stuff?
Actually, I gotta say I really didn't have like a favorite go-to song for his. I kind of liked "Heal the World." I kind of liked the one he did with Eddie Murphy, and
Remember the Time.
I kind of like some of the old stuff too. What do you think? "The Girl Is Mine"?
Yeah, that's with Paul McCartney and all that.
Yeah, but the Bad album was more, I don't know, seemed more pop to me, more showy. But I did realize, in a lot of his songs, he was actually trying to tell us something, in his songs, but couldn't really say it,
What, Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
What was Michael Jackson trying to say in his songs?
Listen to the songs.
All right.
What up?
Hanif, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. You asked me a question about Michael Jackson and Prince?
Yes, yeah, which is crazy on a Prince show. But being that Ty admit that he was more in a Michael Jackson house, and he didn't really get on the Prince train until he realized how much stuff he had done after he died. Just wanted to see what your thoughts are, because you're a culturalist as well. Your thoughts on folks having to choose between Michael Jackson and Prince?
Well, I think it's unfortunate. From at this end, now that we see it at this end, but it was a very real thing. I'm a child of the 70s, and it was a very real thing. I grew up on Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, so Prince coming to light more for me in early 80s Michael Jackson had already been kind of established. So I would say it was a very real rivalry, even them together. Like, you know, the talk of their face off, and Mike, you know, kind of put Prince down in terms of, you know, a battle. But, you know, I loved them both. But, you know, there was definitely an unfortunate rivalry between the two. Like, you know, Booker T and the boys shouldn't really been a rivalry. And Mike Jackson and Prince shouldn't have been a rivalry. I think they fueled each other. So I was both. You know, I started with Mike, you know, in the Jackson 5, you know, Black Mike and the Jackson 5. And then Prince was an icon in my household. So, you know, I think it's a very real thing. I think they kind of fueled each other at some point, particularly in the mid-'80s. You know, I think they really fueled each other and pushed upon each other to be more and more creative. So there was a very real rivalry between the two icons, for sure.
All right. Well, we're going to get off of that. We ain't going to like wallow into the rivalry bit just because Ty didn't know nothing about Prince until 6 years ago.
Okay.
So we gotta push on with the business aspects of Prince.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about Prince Rogers Nelson as a businessman and what he has done as far as music and the business of music?
Well, the first thing, I mean, the biggest thing is he was a savant. He's multifaceted. And he was not just a musician or artist, so to speak. So the thing is, he sold over 100 million records. As you said earlier, he had 48 some odd albums, but he sold over 100 million records. And unfortunately, the record industry, like most industries, is really controlled by the people that put the platform together. So Prince started out as an artist, but his advantage was that he could play every instrument and vocally perform. So he was really more talented than all the musicians that really even played with him. So if he was doing vocals, he probably was a better pianist than the guy that was doing the pianos or the drummer or what have you. So he was a savant, and that's the first inclination of his financial prowess, is that his first album he produced himself, and that's like unheard of in 1977 and 78, particularly for a younger person of his age. So, and he's also someone that got into the industry and learned the industry and learned that, you know, guess what? The artists do not really control this whole, the artists really have very little leverage. So I think he did a lot of educating of other artists. So selling 100 million albums, but then he's one of the first artists to put his music on the internet. This is the first inclination of the internet, right? And
the
then
MPG Club was big, right?
That's right. And then he also did a subscription base where he cut out the middle. So record companies, you know, let's be real, what record companies are, they're really a middleman between the artist and his fans. So Prince worked a lot of his time, particularly in his latter years, cutting off the middleman and going directly to fans. So he was one of the first artists to do crowdfunding to get his albums out, meaning that money goes directly to the artist, not through a secondary source of hands. It goes directly to the artist. That was very innovative. He was one of the first investors in Tidal. You know, that was, you know, up until his death. And then in 2004, he finally was able, 14. Uh-oh. You see me? So in 2000, okay, you guys still there?
Yeah, that was a cliffhanger.
Okay. So in 2004, Prince had his tour, and he did the musicology tour, right? So at that point, he realized he could no longer use the term Prince. He performed with the name Slave on the side of his face, et cetera, et cetera. So he's one of the first artists to have two names. Like 2 Chainz used to be Titty Boy under Ludacris, but then he changed his name to 2 Chainz so he can have rights over the rest of his music from that point on. So Prince is the innovator of that. He was Prince, and then it was the artist formerly known as Prince, and it had the symbol. So that was innovative, but it also had a financial aspect to it. So when he did the musicology tour, with your ticket, he sold CDs. So the ticket sales actually went hand in hand with the CD sales. So, and wow, I have one of those CDs, and I went to that tour. The thing is that, you know, he was racing up the Billboard charts to the fact that Billboard stopped stopped counting because it was so controversial how he was selling records. But guess what? Now artists do that now. Even units that you sell under a record label, it could be a T-shirt that counts as units. It could be some type of signage or whatever an artist sells now. All those things count as units. That's because of Prince. And then finally, he had everyone knows he had a long ongoing war with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns a lot of entertainment industry. But what Prince did was because he started in 77, 78, he waited his 35 years to the Copyright Act of 1977, which gives artists their ability after 35 years, you can take ownership of your masters. And so your master, and his biggest term was, if you don't own your masters own you. That was one of his main terms. And so after 35 years, 2014, he was able to he was able to get the rights to his name back, to his masters back, and then in a genius move, he then signed with Warner Brothers again, but he licensed his music. He licensed his music to Warner Brothers, where then he was in control of the masters as opposed to them. So he only really had a year and a half or two of that ability. It's still in the estate, but that was very, very, very innovative. And it's unfortunate if you go back, and I'm just leave this out here for, if you go back to track most artists that were under a record label and didn't have their masters, and then they received their masters, see how long they lived after they had their masters. There's very few artists that live long after they acquired their masters, Michael Jackson included.
Now you're talking a Sam Cooke conspiracy right now. I don't want to get too deep into that, honey.
No,
we're gonna get into his
I
clip too.
You can track it. I didn't say no conspiracy. You can track it for yourself.
you straight said, if you look and see who got their shit, they don't live too long after they got their shit.
Well, maybe it's a coincidence.
But that is a fascinating point. Prince knew 35 years after the original recording, he could get the licensing. And I remember that there were stories like Prince would go around and ask like white artists, hey, do you own your masters and all that stuff? And like Taylor Swift right now is having a fight right now to try to get her masters. And Prince was the first to lead this fight about masters in MPG Club and get shit online and all that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you got to think, if you're an artist, and I'm not an artist, and I respect artists, and I'm not as talented in that realm, but if you put a lot of work into a product, you want to be able to receive the residuals off said product. But if anyone, and if you get paid by radio plays or radio spins, and then we have something like the YouTube or internet, and people are just playing your music without using, how many of us really use the radio anymore, right? So he was one of the first guys to get up on piracy, in terms of, and it's probably why Instagram and all these places are like that now, because if an artist has put hard work in, they may not receive money. People playing their records, enjoying it, etc. So as an artist, you want to get some residuals off that. So he was one of the first artists to do that, and he was one of the first artists to take his music off other platforms and only solely have them on Tidal. And Taylor Swift followed that as well. So he was innovative in that aspect, investing in a lot of things. That's why his estate is so powerful as it is today. He was really before his time, an icon in a lot of things that he did in terms of controlling the rights of his music.
Do you have any top 7, or can you give us a list of your top Prince albums?
I mean, albums or records? Well, I can't do albums because I don't really know his artist.
You don't know his catalog like that. But,
no, I do. First of all, no. I know his catalog. I'm a very big Prince fan. I don't know it by the albums, though. I know it by the actual record. So I would say my favorite Prince record would be Songs for My Father. If you go and look at it, it's very slow. It's a great song, but it's also the melody for Baby I'm a Star. So I like those are my 2 top. Until the End of Time, Adore, Sign of the Times. I like a lot of his catalog. The butt cheek out Prince was, kind of lost me. Prince of the Revolution. I kind of jumped off
that
of
was
that.
the new power generation. That's
Well,
what
yeah, that's right. New Power Gen, whatever
yeah, that
was.
he was performing Get Off. 23 positions in one night. Oh, come on, man. That was good.
I was a dad. I was a dad at the time, so my whole focus was different at the time. So
Oh, you
that's why I
typical.
dropped off.
I'm a dad now. I can't watch
Yeah,
this.
I'm a dad. I mean, we can't play that in the house. You
Can't
know
watch
what I'm
this
saying?
sexy EMF.
Nah, not. And that was the other thing. Like, he was an icon. He was androgynous. And all that. For raising kids. I wanted them to have a clean slate before we just throw. They see dad walking around in work pants, and here comes Prince with no back on the back of his pants. So, my children can choose what they want now. With now that they're a little bit more educated. But I didn't want to throw that out there. But again, this guy was definitely a savant, artistry-wise, but from a monetary standpoint, he totally revolutionary. Because now you have artists. Let's think of how Drake was discovered. Like, you look at an artist like Drake, he had several mixtapes out before he signed, and so he had a wave, an internet wave, way before even signing with a label. And that's what a lot of artists do now. They build up a crowd, they build up a following prior to a record label coming to get them. And so that's the innovative part now. You can build up your own audience, you can identify with your audience, and you can sell records without even using a record company, or get shows without using a record company. And he paved the way for that.
Ty, you got a question or two before we let Hanif go, and then we're gonna bring in start our second hour where we got a lot of stuff going on. You got something, Ty? Hello? Ty, are you on mute?
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, so I was saying, not really no questions at all. Like, it's been very educational, and like hearing, Hanifa talk about, how things went down. Like, I could see how it all transpired and how it all affects music today, and like it's been really enlightening. And like I said from the beginning, I'm here to take the brunt of the pain for those of us who was slipping. You know what I mean? I admit it. I was slipping.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's just snobbery when people. Here's what we do as longtime Prince fans. We look at other people like, oh, you're late to the party, and we're going to always treat you a certain type of way. But welcome. Everyone's all aboard for Prince. Before we get into bringing up our next two guests, because I think Hanif had some issues, we didn't have a chance to say goodbye to him properly. I said I would read a few things in between. Hang on a second here, as soon as I find it. Because this one is about Prince's girlfriend. Or girlfriends.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one?
Well, this one in particular, because she died 2 months before he did, and this is Vanity. Vanity was the star of Prince's protege's group Vanity 6, joining the ranks of other Prince acolytes, the family, and, in Prince's mind, unruly yet wildly popular at the time. Now, Vanity was so beautiful, so charismatic that even her beloved mentor couldn't get her to agree to do, well, his vanity piece, Purple Rain. Instead, he had to settle for an able but ultimately an also-ran woman named Apollonia Cotero. Of course, by the time Purple Rain came out, everyone finally in Prince's stable wised up and left him because Prince was kind of a bully and an egotist. They came together just to do the movie, but by then the damage had been done. But there's a song that Prince wrote but never released called The Dream Factory, a cautionary tale of love with the lifestyle and not with God. Vanity fell in love with the lifestyle. She wore so much lingerie that she once told Oprah that she only had lace and lingerie hanging in her closet. She partied with Prince and his purple entourage and did lots of cocaine. Lots and lots of cocaine. Now here's the ironic thing, Prince didn't do any of that stuff. But Vanity did, and more, until she found Jesus. And while she was caught up in the dream factory, Vanity did too much. She recovered in the early 90s and began to teach others about Christ, as we now know her as Reverend Denise Matthews. But still, in Action Jackson and The Last Dragon later, her time in the dream factory caught up with her. Her kidneys were shot, and she had to go to dialysis 3 times a week. She collapsed, and her fellow friend in Christ, another Prince girlfriend, Sheila E., announced that the beautiful and somewhat talented Denise was gone at the age of 57. 2 months later, Prince died at the same age. And some people think that Vanity is ultimately Prince's top girlfriend. Here's someone that's coming in that might dispute that, but I think she might agree. Kanisha, are you there, baby? She got all the purple. Now, see, when it comes to purple tie, that's what purple looks like. All right, so I got on a Concord vest, and now this is a purple and paisley tie. This is a paisley tie, all right? But when you want to look up purple, it's what Kanisha is wearing right here.
My shirt was kind of purple-ish. It was patterned. I was going to guess that it was purple.
You can't find that shirt and pull that bad boy up. I would love to see it.
You know what?
Go get it.
Bump it. Go ahead.
Let's see it.
Let's see it.
Kanisha, while he's going to see that, tell us about your Prince fandom. And first of all, how are you? You look lovely.
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm well. And I'm so glad you decided to do this, because I know we've gone back and forth just on you seeing posts of my stuff on another social media medium and talking about how I love the Prince. And I'm not going to try to play any more music, but we're going to have a little Prince karaoke, and we're going to definitely get into the weeds of songs. With that said, tell me, where did you get that outfit first? And then talk about your love of Prince.
Let's see, the t-shirt I actually got from the Prince official site, and I cut it myself. Thank you so much.
Oh, so you can show a little of that shoulder?
And my shoulders, yeah. And let's see, I got the hat for Christmas from my aunt. I don't believe that is black and white. I don't think that's purple.
Shit.
Blue? It's navy. I think it's navy.
It's navy, and it looks like
the cup. The cup was a another Christmas present from someone who knows that I'm a huge stan for Prince, and she bought it in the Minneapolis airport. There's a Prince store in the airport in Minneapolis.
Ew! Of course, there's a Prince store in Minneapolis.
That's right. So if breakfast can wait, you can still have your coffee.
Ah, that's right. That's a song from the terrible years.
Yes.
Ty,
that's from 2016. That was the artificial age. It was released.
Artificial, yeah. That's when he was just doing shit again. That shirt, Ty, looks like the snow when you can't find your channel back in the antenna days. Yeah, it's a good looking shirt.
I was thinking a composition notebook cover.
Yeah, the zebra notebooks. It looked like the zebra notebooks. Ty says it's stink being colorblind sometimes. He's looking like Charlie Brown right now.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right, Ty. You look good in that black.
It's cool. I'm gonna just sit.
You sip. We got to get into some Prince weeds and give you some knowledge. Kanisha, before I bring up DJ Roger Riddle, because I've known that man a good portion of my adult life, and we've had back and forths about Prince in good ways. Tell me, what are your 7? All 7, because we watched them fall, because that's the numerology of Prince, folks. 7 is his favorite number. Do you have 7 albums you can point to?
I do, with some intellect and savoir-faire. I do have them for you. In no particular order. Okay, so again, this is in no particular order, and I can tell you why if you want. But Around the World in a Day from 1985, and I have like a very vivid memory about that one that I could talk about.
That's a good album.
Parade from 1986, because that's tied to Under the Cherry Moon. And so sometimes it snows in April. Ask people in Boston about that. And then, of course, you have to have Prince from 1979 on there. Like, I wanted to put For You on there, his very first one, but no.
It doesn't make it, does it?
79, Prince.
And my mom actually had that album, and we would actually clean the house to it on Saturdays.
Now, is that the one where he's naked on a horse?
Before ballet. Yes, with his hair kind of feather. I had that same press out for Easter. Yeah, that one. Then Dirty Mind, 1980. Very funky, Dirty Mind. Then 1999, which was in 1982, Little Red Corvette's on there, and that's like one of my most favorite Prince songs. And also DMSR, Lady Cab Driver. There was like a lot of stuff we should not have been listening to on that one.
Most of it, yeah. Yeah, most of it. That's right.
Sign of the Times from 1987. That has like so much on it, and I think people like they forget about Sign of the Times, but that had everything on it. And then of course Purple Rain, 1984.
Very good.
That's my Prince. But you know, I would still say like 2006 he had 3121. That one was actually, there were some songs on there that were better.
I thought 3121 was actually better than Musicology.
It was too, but there, you know, I did like Call My Name on Musicology, so that's, you know, it's such a pretty song. And then he had some good stuff on Cold Experience in '95. He had like that Tevin Campbell ended up remaking. He had some good stuff on there.
Well, Kanisha, you are welcome now by, I call him DJ Riddle.
Hi, DJ.
He used to have, I don't know if he's a DJ anymore, but he's showing his crates. He's got all his albums back there. He's looking more like George Clinton.
He's got purple lighting.
And he's got the light and purple and everything. You're looking good, my friend. I ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. How are you doing?
It's good to see you, and it's good to meet you all. Thank you so much for having me on today. Are you hearing me all right?
Oh, we hear you just great. We hear you better than you hear me.
Right on.
Right on. So, this is Roger Riddle, folks. He's a music curator, and he's a culturalist in Akron, Ohio right now. We knew each other from way back in our Macon, Georgia days. And you're also a FAMU alum. Is that correct, Roger?
Not alum. I went to FAMU, but, you know.
Well, I looked this up. You're technically an alum. You're just not a graduate.
Ah, there we go. So I spent some time there. I had a little too much fun. I went to Detroit. I had a whole lot more fun. I came, and then I loved there, and I came to Georgia, Macon, Georgia, and that's when I met you, and I was showing my ass the whole time. So
the whole time. But one of my good friends, I'm really glad we reconnected. He gave up social media for Lent, and I had lost his number, and I didn't think I'd get him on the show. But thankfully, the show ended 3 days after Lent ended. All right, Riddle, talk to me about your thoughts on Prince and your feelings on Prince, and then we'll get into your top 7, and then we'll have ourselves a round discussion. And I got some trivia as well. A little bit of trivia. Go for it.
No, so I legit loved Prince from the first time I heard him. Kind of like, I think the very first song I remember hearing is Little Red Corvette. Just kind of growing up in Detroit, hearing it on the radio. And then, like, there was a DJ that I loved in Detroit named the Electrifying Mojo. His radio show came on late at night, and he was playing, like, anything and everything that was out of the ordinary, and he was diving deep into the Prince crate. So Mojo was known for playing hip-hop in the early 80s when, like, the daytime radio station wasn't playing the songs he was playing. He was playing all of the new techno that was coming out of Detroit when no one else was playing it. And then he had this thing for funk and Prince. And so there's an interview with Prince that a lot of people know, that Mojo, it's become kind of an iconic interview with Prince. And so I was listening to that radio show. I would stay up way later than I should have been for as young as I was, listening to that stuff. And it stuck with me all those years. Like, I heard all of these different songs because he wasn't just playing the singles that were out at the time. He was digging deep into the albums and playing stuff that, you know, like they weren't playing on the daytime radio show. So that was kind of where Prince started for me. And then, you know, Purple Rain comes out, And, you know, Prince by that point had the world in his hands. So it was all game from there.
Let's talk about that real quick before you give me your top 7. Purple Rain. All right, everyone. There was an era in the '80s, and this could tie back into it too, where you either wore the Michael Jackson red leather jacket, or you wore the Prince purple. You know, like these were cultural black icons that just took over the pop clothing landscape, let alone the music landscape. And Prince did have the world in his hands because he won, forget, not just Grammys, but he won Oscars for music involved with that too. The thing about Purple Rain is that he followed it with Around the World in a Day, which Kanisha listed as one of her top 7. And we've talked about that album, Roger. We can talk about some more.
Oh, yeah.
And it felt like Prince said, no, you gotta do it like Prince. They expect me to do this, but I'm gonna do something completely different. Watch this shit. I could see him saying that instead of trying to follow up Purple Rain note for note, bar for bar, and just going a completely different direction so he could have creative freedom. I think in the long term that saved his career, but in the short term, the Warner Brothers and the popular zeitgeist was just pissed. Can you guys talk to that? What's your thoughts on that earlier? Go ahead.
I'll say that for most artists, that album that throws you kind of like over the top, where you're like you're deep into like everybody in the world knows you. Once you hit that, and for most people, like you become uninteresting. Like it's a slow slope downhill afterwards. And I don't think that happened for Prince. Like, to be honest, like I'm always interested in what's the album right before you became like the massive superstar. So like in the case of Michael Jackson, Off the Wall to me is Michael Jackson's best album.
Yep.
You know, when you look at Stevie Wonder, Music of My Mind is like an incredible album, and it's the album before he wins 3 Grammys. And so this happens with a bunch of artists. Like I remember looking up Elton John. He had a very similar sort of like that album right before Elton John becomes huge.
You mean
Goodbye
like Yellow Brick Road or the one before it?
I think it's the one before it. Yeah. So like for a lot of artists, like that album right before is like something super special. Like you can tell like it's there. It's like, like I can taste something special. And then like, you know, like that next album comes out and you like everyone loves it. And then, you know, like it's a little different after that. And so, I don't know, but Prince, I know you mentioned Sign of the Times.
No.
He did what? Go ahead.
He had controversy before Purple Rain, and that had, that was decent. He had Let's Work on there.
1999 is the album right before Purple Rain.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And that one was also in my top, and that had so much on it. And then even afterwards, if you think about the interesting thing, what you were saying, I think about like Around the World in a Day was where he expressed himself a little bit more. You saw, and how he could play on words. He had the ladder on there, which is very religious, but then he also had a tambourine, which it was like the complete.
Yeah.
So to me, it was just really interesting to see like all the different things, and then just some really beautiful ballads on there. Condition of the Heart. Raspberry Beret was very popular.
It was mentioned that it was supposed to be Prince's Beatles psychedelic album. That's what it was. That's what they said he was going for, which also inspires the cover. You remember the cover and the whole Raspberry Beret motif, but he just wanted to go completely different and throw cold water on the Jerry curl. I mean, he came out with a woman's haircut again.
I had that haircut.
It's a bomb ass haircut too. Like I'm son of a barber and a beautician. It's a barb. It's a slamming ass haircut, and he's wearing the damn what do you call it? The Mozart feather ruffles right there and the shit. And he's cleaned it up a little bit from the griminess of the Minnesota club circuit that he let us know, and he wanted to show us something else. And I think that's courageous for an artist to feel, to knock away the pressure and say, I'm going to do something else.
But then he started like thinking he could really make some movies, and then he came up with Under the Cherry Moon.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So,
Ty, have you ever seen Under the Cherry Moon?
I don't know.
That's the whole Wrecka store.
Probably.
Now,
if you saw it, you would know.
Now,
you would know.
It's like it's Prince, it's Jerome, because he was also jealous of the Jerome Morris dynamic from Purple Rain.
Is that when they were like at the mansion?
No, it's black and white. It's shot entirely black and white.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, that movie discovered Kristen Scott Thomas, a real actress, and had Victor Maitland from Beverly Hills Cop. Stephen Bierko, but you know he was also known as Victor Maitland.
Him and Morris Day.
No, Morris Day was not in the movie.
Was that something different?
Morris was not in the movie. No.
Morris was in the shit that followed two episodes after that. It was Graffiti Bridge, because Sign of the Times is his greatest cinematic achievement, but that's more music based. But it's a beautiful concert movie.
Yeah.
Under the Cherry Moon is he as a piano playing grifter, swindler with his cousin Tricky, Jerome, and they're scamming white women all over France. That's basically the movie.
Wealthy
white women. Scamming wealthy white women. Because they ain't scamming no wealthy black women in France. They're not doing anything to black women.
Grace Jones wasn't there. So.
Grace Jones wasn't there. And she wouldn't want anything to do with Prince either. But yes, he thought he could do movies. Mm-hmm. Riddle, before we get into the movie rabbit hole, what's your 7? What's your top 7?
So my number 7 is the Gold Experience. I
almost put it in. Yeah.
I had a little dot next to it.
It's such a cool album. There's a lot of conversation going on right now about the revival or kind of like reminiscing and looking back on the New Jack Swing sound. And I've heard a lot of people kind of talking about it. It was like, hey, this was an incredible era of music. Mm-hmm. And so when you proposed this idea of 7 albums, I went back and listened to a lot of stuff and listening to the Gold Experience, like it was so in line with that. And in fact, and ladies, please forgive me. I'm about to say a word I don't normally say. I promise y'all I will only use this in the context of
I know the song you're talking about, because I'm going to play the first part of it and then I'm going to shut it up. Bitch! Okay, go ahead.
So that song, man, when you listen to the music in that song, like that is a New Jack Swing song and it's incredible. But I really got into this album because I bought the cassette single for I Hate You. Mm-hmm. And then, man, come on, like the first song on the album was called Pussy Control. If I make no mistake, I'm pretty sure I got this album as part of the Columbia House Music Club.
And so, did you pay them though?
I actually did. Like I was a big enough music fan. The Columbia House worked for me.
Wait a minute. There's people who owe Columbia House $4,822 right now.
Yeah,
they got records for a penny, changed their address, and ignored the postman. That was the worst music scam ever. Came up with the Columbia House shit.
Hey, I'm telling you, like, I got my money's worth out of it. I paid mine because I wanted the records every month. Like, I really did. So, like, I was probably the only person in the world that used it the way it was supposed to be used.
Hey, Ty and Kanisha, that's why he got all the albums back there, because he paid pennies on the dollar for them. Literally.
I have a couple of albums, but
well, yeah, but you're
actual
right,
records.
That Gold Experience. I think that was his first big effort as the symbol guy. And I remember he was like trying to get the black radio to really listen to it, because he was on Soul Train. Like, Prince is on fucking Soul Train. Why is Prince on Soul Train? Man, I haven't seen Prince on Soul Train before. He was trying to sell that shit. Nona Gay was hanging out with him. They had Acknowledge Me on it. Billy Jack Bitch. Shh. The Arms of Desire. Like, he had it was a good album. Like you said. But it also had some stuff that's like, boy, I need to skip this shit too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you, like, another thing about that album that really like made me think about Prince differently, and I believe you mentioned it earlier, Shh, which was a Tevin Campbell song.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, this is what happened when Prince gives you a song and you don't do it the way he thinks you should do it. Like, you don't want to be the person where Prince comes after you and say, like, I meant for you to do it like this. I was like, oh God.
He was a kid. I mean,
yeah.
Right.
Hey, Ty, have you heard Tevin Campbell's songs? Are you familiar with Tevin Campbell's album "I'm Ready"? Because Prince wrote half. It was split between Babyface and Prince. Like, they produced that album, right? And so, do you have a takeaway about that? Do you remember any of the Tevin Campbell songs that Prince gave him?
Not exactly. One's from Prince, but I remember the songs. I ain't gonna say that I knew that they from Prince.
Yeah, like Can We Talk is Babyface, right? But Shh was, I hate that being a title because you gotta say Shh. I'm like, it's
right.
Instead of Break It Down.
Because he does ask to break it down, but that's actually like a vamp. That's a vamping thing. But Shh is like Tevin Campbell. Arms of Desire. I've always felt like he gave Tevin some songs that were a little too grown.
But Round and Round, he wrote that, and Tevin sang that on Graffiti Bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the perfect song for him at that time.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Are we talking slang? What you mean Round and Round was a perfect song for Tevin Campbell? There's so many ways to take this. I got it.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. All right.
What way around we taking this with Tevin Campbell? All right. I'll grow up. The movies. So Ty has not seen Graffiti Bridge.
I've seen it. It's just been a long ass time.
Oh wait.
Didn't want to. He just regretted
I've
it.
seen it.
You don't have to bow up for that one. That shit sucks.
Oh, it was good. It was terrible.
I wish I had more hands to give it more thumbs
Give
down.
it more. Give that shit more thumbs down.
I was a Time fan. Like, I loved the Time. So I was like, oh, Morris Day is in it again. And like, it was a struggle. I'm pretty sure I only saw it once. And I made it to the end, but I was just like, what is this? And
they filmed it at Paisley Park. So that
it looked like it too.
It looked like they filmed it at Paisley Park. This doesn't look like a city. This looks terrible.
Yeah.
All
right. It was doing good.
My number 6 album is Controversy. Just, you know, like, I had a hard time with number 6 and number 5 as to like what was going to be in there. But Controversy, man, like, some of the things I was thinking about as I went back and revisited it. My favorite song on that album is Private Joy. But what struck me more than anything else as I looked at it this time around was, man, there's a song called Ronnie Talked to Russia. And I was trying to get my head around, like, during that time in 1981, this dude, like, flat out called out the president with a nickname, which was kind of unheard of, especially when you're talking about Ronald Reagan. Like, this dude was, like, at that time, like, you know, people, and a lot of people still do hold Ronald Reagan in very high esteem. And Prince was calling dude Ronnie and telling him what to do. And like, we take it for granted now because like, you could cuss out the president nowadays and it's no big deal. But like during the 80s and Ronald Reagan, like calling Ronald Reagan, like, hey, this is what you need to be doing on a song where you calling him Ronnie. I was like, man, this is crazy. Another one was Annie Christian. Like he was making some sort of commentary there. I don't know if he fully hit the mark, but he was talking about like the what it's like to be evangelical and be kind of two-faced and you know, like you saying you a super Christian, but you out here, you know, you telling me I shouldn't be doing this, but look at what you doing. And like, I was just kind of like, wow, man, in the 80s, like that's something that's, you know, we're dealing with still today. So, and on top of that, there were all of the hits, like Controversy, Do Me Baby is on there.
Let's work.
just such an amazing album. Dirty Mind is my number 5, and again, like Dirty Mind was one of them albums that like this was the era of like every album just had amazing songs on it. Number 4 in 1999, you already said it. Like for me, the back half of that album was where it was. From Free to Lady Cab Driver to All the Critics Love You in New York to International Lover. Those were just like, that is what made that album for me. Number 3 is Parade. Like, wow, what an album. And this is, like you said, like this comes after Purple Rain. Like this is a masterpiece of an album where like there are instrumental piano interludes and just songs where he is like, the Venus de Milo song is so interesting. But my favorite song was always Another Lover Holding Your Head on that album.
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh, and by the way, it snowed here in Akron, Ohio today.
And it's April, because of course.
Yeah.
Of course it did.
And then just the opening a Kiss on that one. Like, it just, like, yeah, right there.
Yeah, Kiss was the biggest hit from that one.
From that album, yeah. And so I'll say this too, as a DJ, Shawn remembers me as a DJ when I was playing down in Macon, Georgia. There is one song still to this day. Like I don't do a whole lot of DJing, but when I do, still to this day, if the crowd has died down and people aren't on the dance floor, there is one song I can consistently put on, and it calls every woman in the room to stand up, go to the dance floor, and have a ball. Which means the very next song, all of the guys are going out there, is Kiss. Like it works every time. As soon as you hear that opening, every woman in the room stands up. It is an amazing song. It is the perfect party song as far as I'm concerned.
And then Girls and Boys on that one. I used to sing that to my kids when they were little. Like, you know, you're playing with the baby. And
Girls and Boys. What is that instrument that he used that sounds like someone sat on a duck? What is that instrument? Is that and he uses it because Prince is like mixing shit in like he's a DJ. Like he's mixing stuff in like rappers.
Isn't it just the saxophone? It just sounds like a horn of some type.
I don't know. It's similar to Peter Frampton's talking guitar. It's similar to that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very weird, but yeah, it's a. I love that album. But go on, guys. I'm sorry. And then my number 2 album is Sign of the Times. I can't talk about this album enough. And like the crazy thing for me is the title song was a big hit, but like for me, like that, like the actual song Sign of the Times almost doesn't compare to everything else that's on that album.
Housequake. Very political though. It was very political. Like he was political.
Oh yeah.
Like the thread throughout.
That was almost a Dylan song, you know? That was like his Bob Dylan type of folk song in a Prince way. Because he was just looking at the world and, all right, this is going on. And he keeps it spare. He keeps it very clean. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't go too high or too low. But that's his introduction because he's got 4,000 more songs on that damn album that you got to listen to.
So Housequake is like just this insane, like you can't help but move to it when it comes on. One of my favorite memories of you, Shawn, is us talking about the Ballad of Dorothy Parker, which is probably my favorite Prince song of all times.
Well, so Dorothy was a waitress on the Promenade, and she worked the night shift. Mm-hmm. She was a dishwater blonde, and she was tall and fine. Did she get a lot of tips, Kanisha?
She did get a lot of tips.
Earlier, I'd been talking stuff in a quiet room, in a violent room. Fighting with lovers past. I needed someone with a quicker wit than mine, and Dorothy was fast. And this is where one of those times where Prince adds in those lyrics. Mm-hmm. That's kind of funny. Oh, my favorite song says this is Johnny singing.
And hold on,
I did skip a verse, but
Hold on, right
She's talking through him the whole damn time.
You forgot about. I said cool, but I'm leaving my pants on.
But shout out to Prince in this song, introducing me to Joni Mitchell. Like the whole reason that I found Joni Mitchell's catalog was because of the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. I was like, what is he saying right here? And let me go figure it out. And that was my introduction to Joni Mitchell through Prince.
I feel. Hold on a second before we continue. We might dig further into the crates, Ty. If you want to make yourself a stronger Drake. All right, he's there. We got to get in.
Go ahead.
Ty is such a good sport too, because he admitted that he's not a Prince-aholic. He didn't get into him until his death. Now that's a different rabbit hole, but we'll continue to get into the crates. Got a little bit of trivia. I got a Shawn Says. Then we can have overtime, and then we can just do whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, Riddle, and then.
Starfish and Coffee. What? Like he performed it on the Muppets. What more do I have to do?
I think that's a perfect Prince album because I don't think there's anything skippable. The only thing I sometimes skip is "It's Gonna Be a Beautiful Night." But if you see that live on the Sign of the Times, the concert, I was like, why did I skip that? Let me go back and get that. It's a great feeling song.
It's good for the treadmill. It's good for the treadmill.
It's good for the treadmill. It's a great album. It's a great album. And you're number one, Riddle, because I want to punch you in the face with a fork because of this.
I guarantee you what I'm about to say after I explain it. I think you will at least say like, okay, I understand. All right, so my number one album, after you asked me about it, and I knew instantly, like when you said it, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna say this, but I know it's like this is not gonna cut it. Like I have to do a lot of explaining. My number one album, it's the hits, the B-sides.
Okay.
And here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Nah, Kanisha, you too calm about that. That don't count. That's a compilation album.
All right. But tell me what.
So, I will
let me say this, because I got a lot to say about this album. I mean, I got a whole lot to say.
I cannot give you a lot to say about it. Just say something about this damn.
All right, check this out. Here's the deal. I was an album buyer. I know earlier Hanif said that he was more into the singles. I was an album buyer. And like I said, like I listened to Mojo late at night and he was playing all of these songs. And I would get an album and be like, where is She's Always in My Hair? Mm-hmm. Where is my favorite Prince song was when I was young was Erotic City. I remember when Erotic City was getting played on the radio in Detroit. And so I couldn't find it. So like when I heard that there was an album coming out and there was a disc called the B-sides, and I checked and oh my God, how come You Don't Call Me Anymore is on there?
Everything.
17 Days is on there. Like all of these songs that I've been looking for years that I couldn't figure out where they were on this album. And then here's the deal. There are 4 unreleased songs on that album. One of them being Power Fantastic. It's a jazz song. I was like, what? Like Prince was recording music like this? Which Hunting, after listening to it, turned me on to the fact that he had a jazz band with Eric Leeds called Madhouse. So now I was on the hunt for Madhouse because of this album. This is the first time most of us heard Prince perform Nothing Compares to You. This was a lot of people's introduction to Rosie Gaines was through the hits and the B-sides, because there's an unreleased version, a live version of that song on this album. That was the only place it was released. And that was the moment where I was like, Prince wrote that? Like that hit for Sinead O'Connor, Prince wrote that? Then that led me to what other songs did Prince write? Oh, he wrote a song for the Bangles. Oh, like he wrote all of the music for The Time. He wrote all of the music for Sheila E. He wrote all of the music for Vanny. Like all of that stuff opened up to me because of that album. But my favorite moment from this album was in the liner notes, they described on Prince's birthday, he sent out a 12-inch single. The jacket was black. It had a sticker on it. It didn't say Prince anywhere on it. Only certain DJs across the country got this album. They opened it up, got this record. They opened it up. It's this gold vinyl, and they put it on, not knowing what it is. And here's a brand new Prince song, and it's like the baddest Prince song they've ever heard. It's "Sexy Motherfucker," and I am like, what is this? Like me being a DJ, I'm imagining like what it would have been like to open up this package and get this record. So I'm walking around Macon, and at the time there was a record store, and this guy used to have like, walk in the record store, like he had like Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" album on vinyl sitting up there, and he was asking $30 for it. And I was like, come on, you crazy. Like I just bought this from the dollar store. I mean, from Goodwill for $1. Like, there's nowhere in the world that album, it's not even brand new, should be $30. But he was like, oh yeah, like he's showing off all of this stuff, and it's like Thriller, and like just albums that you can get anywhere. And he was like, oh, all this stuff in that room over there is $2. And so like me and the guy that I was hanging out with, we started going through the records in the $2 room, and I almost have a panic attack. And I didn't have no money on me. Like, he was there to shop. I didn't have a dime on me. So I like grab a few things. I stick them back over in the corner. I wouldn't even tell him what I saw, because I knew he was the type of guy that would have went back in there, grabbed them things, and dipped. The next day, I came back with some money. I picked out like a couple more albums, and I stuck like 3 or 4 albums in between these other albums. Went up front, and I'm terrified. I'm like, this dude is going to say, oh, I made a mistake. This wasn't supposed to be back there. But what I pulled out of that room was the family's Screams of Passion 12-inch single, the Madhouse album, and 8, the first Madhouse album, 8, as well as one of the singles from the album, a 12-inch single. And here is this black jacket with a single sticker on it that says "Sexy M Up." I pulled out the record, and it's gold. This is the this is the 12-inch single that was talked about in the liner notes from the hits and the B-sides. And I walked up front, and I knew that the album was selling because I went home and looked for it. I searched for it after I read the liner notes, and I knew that record, the 12-inch single, was selling for $200. I bought it for $2.
Well, this is partially why Warner Brothers hated Prince. He did shit like that, and they let him do shit like that, and it was expensive and costly, and it just didn't do them any good. And Prince did it because he could. And Warners are like, look, motherfucker, if you just put out an album every 2 years instead of trying to put out 3 albums a year, you could make more money, people can digest it. But he kept pushing out shit.
So all of that right there is why I feel like, for me, the hits and the B-sides. And let's not forget, Pink Cashmere was on that. This was the first time we heard that. Like, like I say, like, there were legit songs on there that it was the first time we heard it. It was on the hits and the B-side. And I have this personal connection because it opened up a whole new world of Prince to me, as well as I have this incredible memory of finding a record that I wanted because of that album.
Pink Cashmere was the single that released the hits, the B-sides.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
I don't know. I understand your point. In the modern way of looking at it, you got good points. It's like a whole new album because you found the B-sides when you got the hits and all that stuff. And I remember they sold it up 3 ways. You could get volume 1, volume 2, or you could get the whole thing, and the B-sides would be inserted in there. That's when Warner Brothers was like, we probably gonna do no more. We ain't gonna do no more business with this purple nigga again, so let's just package this the way we can and get all our money. But still, that's not a fully realized time capsule album. Like, so what they're trying to do now, and I got to feel like Kanisha might know a little bit about this too. They're gonna release Camille. Prince always had his persona, Camille. All right, so Tyrone, Camille is his other feminine persona that we're talking this hyper studio voice, and that's the "If I Was Your Girlfriend" voice. That's Camille's song. And there was supposed to be a whole album called Camille, but there was supposed to also be a whole album called the Black Album, which is not the Black Album as we know it. There's also supposed to be a whole bunch of stuff because Prince just had a bunch of shit. With that said, do you think, Kanisha, I'm gonna throw it to you, is that a valid album to say the B-sides, a collection of Prince's B-sides over, at that point, 25 years, is an album? Or is it just lost shit? That's more like the vault to me. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if it's lost because some were unreleased. Again, some were, you know, overshadowed by, I guess, kind of overshadowed by other songs. So it's like almost like a re-release. I'll allow it, you know, like the whole mix, because there were new releases, there were re-releases, and then there were the hits that people were used to. I'm just curious, like I would love to know the method behind the madness of selecting what, you know, what was in there. Like,
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Ty, do you have any questions as of this moment, as what you're hearing, or like?
No, not at all. Like,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you talk.
I honestly feel like we need to have another fan take my spot. I'm not doing it justice, obviously.
You could, but I do have a question. You know, as a Prince, I don't want to call you this, but a Prince neophyte. Is that fair? As a Prince neophyte, is this opening up your curiosity? I would love to play these songs, but they're gonna cut me off as soon as I do that shit.
Yeah,
because the Warners are on my ass, man. Unless I play the terrible shit, and I don't want to play any of the terrible shit.
Like, I'm aware, I'm not naive to Prince and his music, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're saying the names of the songs, I'm remembering like the lyrics and all that, and remembering how I felt, you know, as a young child, man, right? Hearing it for the first time, and then hearing my parents play it all the time. So it's not like I'm oblivious. It's just I can't get into it like y'all are getting into it, going album from album, you know, even knowing the back end of a certain album. I'm not there.
No.
You know I mean?
I'm
not there.
Like, no, I totally believe that, and I dig that. I feel like it was when I first had I always liked the concept of jazz. In my freshman year, I met this white guy named Mike Cruz across my dorm. It was a white guy because I went to the University of Georgia. I didn't go to a black school. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I went to the University of Georgia.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that's right, Kanisha. That's right. We ain't gonna celebrate that too much because there's a bunch of black faces on this screen. But he knew jazz, and his dad was an old musician, and he gave me John Coltrane's Olé.
Mm.
And that changed everything, and that was like my starting point, and I started to spread out from there. And I think that's what a lot of people could do with Prince too. It's like, all right, you got Purple Rain. Now, if you go out from the water's edge a little bit, Prince sort of does it for you. What's his next album? It's completely fucking different with Around the World in a Day. And it's like, what the fuck? This dude did this. It was completely different from that, but it's still kind of funky. And because you're removed from the expectations of Purple Rain, people are expecting like a sequel, you can appreciate it now. And then from there, you'll go down a rabbit hole. So I wish I could play this stuff. Y'all have to find me when I get a bunch of money and I pay Tika and the family, Tika Nelson and the family. Actually, I'm not paying Tika anything because them motherfuckers just pushing out the sound of Prince pissing in a toilet and saying that was a track. They're doing everything right now because they just keep pumping and priming that money pump. I gotta give my top. All right, and we may break it down.
Better be good too. That's all I know.
Just purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka first. You'll be all right.
I will. And motherfuckers named Ty better shut the hell up.
I'm gonna critique the hell out of this.
He is gonna critique. And by the way, this is my road dog.
I'm gonna send you some notes, Ty.
but I'm gonna give props to Ty because he is a good sport. He said he'll show up and hang out here, and his princedom is not like us. But we'll get you there. My number 7. I almost went with the Graffiti Bridge soundtrack, but I left it be because I thought the Time songs were terrible. I know he wrote them, but they were terrible. Shake, I didn't give a fuck about it and all that shit. But I thought the stuff he did on Graffiti Bridge was really good. but it's all 7, and we watch them fall, right? Because it's Prince. And number 7 is Batman. The Batman soundtrack is top 7.
I can hang with you on that one.
And I wrote stuff because I wrote this years. I wrote this like the day after this motherfucker died, and I just refreshed it. I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, it's still the same. Why is it great? It ain't nothing but a muffin, got a lot of butter to go. That's Party Man. Here's what I think happened. Prince was I'm not gonna talk that story. Prince was going to not produce an album. He had an off year. Wait said at a rep at Warner Brothers, we have Batman coming out. Would you want to put some songs together for that? He went into Paisley Park's Batcave. Tim Burton gave him a rough cut of Batman, and Prince started writing to what he was inspired by. Now, they had Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman already had a soundtrack created. So where are you going to squeeze these damn songs in there? And when Prince had a manager, instead of him managing himself, the manager said, well, why don't you guys say songs inspired by the movie? Now you have room for all this shit. You have a Batman universe of music, instead of having to compete which songs get into the movie and which don't. And so because that happened, we have the Batman album in which he wrote its 9 songs in the personas of Batman, the Joker, and Vicky Vale, Kim Basinger, who he was banging at the time, by the way. The result is a quick, spare, yet tasty set of tracks that leave you wanting more. It grows in awesomeness over time and delight. Tracks that you suckers love who are simple, scandalous, Party Man, Electric Chair. All those songs are composed by the Joker, but the songs that you need to cop that may have been hidden, that never got released, Vicky's Waiting, and Lemon Crush. Now, Vicky Waiting, it tells one of the simplest jokes that Prince has ever thrown in lyrics. I tell her the joke about the woman who asked the lover, why is your organ so small? He replied, I didn't know I was playing in cathedral. Vicky didn't laugh at all. I thought that shit was funny. It's like, if you want to be crude about it, he's saying your shit is so big. That's why it seems small. But he found a nice Prince, cute way to say it on an album he had to keep PG for this movie. That's my number 7.
Right on. And you know what? Like, I have to say that a conversation that I had with you years ago did somewhat change my mind on Batman, because I had given up on, like, Bat Dance. I don't care. Like, the rest of that album is good, but Bat Dance is probably the worst Prince song
It turned into one of his biggest hits of all time. People are like, what the fuck is this? And then they're like, oh shit, this is actually kind of funky. And they start dancing to it.
Man, that guitar,
dance is funky.
That guitar solo in Bat Dance is like it just sounds like a bunch of shit falling over. I don't know, like it is.
Shawn, I can't get not top 7. Not top, but I do like Scandalous and Party Man.
It beat Around the World in a Day, and it beat Graffiti Bridge. Those were the 7. Those other 2. It beat those 2.
I'm looking, got Batman ranked 25th.
As a Prince album? What you looking at, Ty?
Is that a Billboard list, or is that just a list of Prince albums?
No. Was it Rolling Stone?
Oh, no, it's not a Billboard list. It looks like just a random ranking.
I got a trivia question related to Batman. Okay.
Y'all are much older than me, so which is probably why y'all got.
That's not correct either. If I'm correct, I know who's the oldest, so I better not say.
Probably.
And I think
it's probably me.
It's probably you. And
really? I was going to say, like, you look pretty young. I think it's me.
Yeah, you look young. I'm 45.
No, I'm older.
46?
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Oh, okay. You got me beat then. I'm 46.
45 and a half.
Drink water.
I would have guessed.
Drink water, kids.
That's what you said.
All right, so what's this trivia question?
All right, so trivia question. There's a song that producer and director Tim Burton used as a space filler for the scene where the Joker comes into the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson Batman. Can you guys hear me okay?
Party Man.
Okay.
Party Man.
No. So Party Man became the song that Prince wrote for that scene.
Mm.
What is the song that Tim Burton used as a filler? Because remember, Prince got the movie out.
Okay.
And the thing is, he wrote it that way because it had the same. He wrote Party Man that way because it had the same time measure. It had the same beat. So what is the song that Prince, and I'll give you a hint to help you guys out. It's off the Purple Rain album. So Ty, you can participate in this as well. The Purple Rain song. It's not Purple Rain, but it's a song off the Purple Rain album that replaced Party Man so they could have the same time measure and the beat.
Hmm.
Yeah, no. That's a good one, right? Shawn, you came up with a good question. Good question.
That is a good one.
That is, yeah.
If it's the same, would it be, and it's from Purple Rain?
Correct.
Baby, I'm a Star?
Correct.
Huh.
Correct. Baby, I'm a Star.
That's what I was about to
guess. Ty told me. He messaged me. He told me.
It's the same cadence, right? So.
Okay.
My lights back up. Okay, so that's one trivia question. Here's a trivia question. You're gonna love this, and then I'll get back to my list. Who is the darkest skinned woman Prince has been romantically connected with in the media?
Nona Gay? Was that?
They say they didn't have anything. They didn't have an actual confirmation. I will give you half a point. I think that they did something, but they didn't have a confirmation. There is one other that
is it Sheila E?
Nope, Sheila E ain't dark enough.
They all the same.
They all the same.
Right?
Manila. Yeah, I was about to say, like, we are talking like very.
Someone said vanity in the.
Vanity. Bam. I'll give you 15 seconds. I want y'all to comb through it because
I am not comfortable with this question.
But you're not comfortable with this question?
Let's see.
Huh?
You gotta get comfortable. Shit. While you do that, I'm gonna get my lights going because my lights messed up. Boom, boom, boom.
Was it?
Huh?
It wasn't. No, I'm thinking of something else.
I really want you to win one, Ty. Come on.
You can do it, man. I got faith in you.
Ty, you can get you one. You can do it. I don't think you can do it. I'm gonna count it down. Sign of the times.
God, hey, I could do anything with this thing called the internet.
Okay, let's see.
All right, I'm going to give you guys
30
seconds.
Give us a hint.
Not.
Ooh, it's a tough one to give a hint. All right, I'll give you a hint. I think she wanted to be Oprah.
Are we going to say Patti LaBelle? We're going back.
Wait, are you saying? Wait.
And she was officially connected with Prince. And she started his young girl trends publicly.
Oh. Huh.
All right. You guys give up?
Yeah.
Is it Tam? Are you saying Tamron Hall?
No, Tamron Hall, she didn't mess with Prince. Prince wouldn't pay for her shit. Ananda Lewis. Do you remember Ananda Lewis?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was on Teen Summit.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh.
She dark.
I agree with Kim Dudley. The hint was bad. That was a bad hint. You did not.
She dark skin or she dark skin for Prince?
Oprah. Ananda wanted to be Oprah. We've not heard from Ananda since then.
She was on MTV too, but
but Ananda Lewis is the answer we're going for, folks.
Wow.
Yes, she is Prince dark skin.
She's the most dark skinned that Prince has ever
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me give you another album. Number 6 is Controversy. All right. Why is it great? It's the first album where Prince wants you to love his mind more than his body. A personal note, Do Me Baby is a song I go to for karaoke.
Oh, wait, no.
Like you never done before. Oh. Here's the problem with Do Me Baby. Here's the problem with Controversy. That joint is 37 minutes long. Really short, motherfucker. You want to come out with this short ass album? 37 minutes long.
But like that was like what albums were at the time.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, like during that time, like 1981, like most albums were roughly about 30 minutes.
Bruh.
They are frying you for that.
Let me tell these people. Something. We need an extended release of that in Dirty Mind. How about release this? These nuts!
People call me rude.
Release these nuts. That was number 6. Number 5, which is literally the longest Prince album, this side of the multiple disc. It's the Symbol album. It was the last album that he was contractually under Warner Brothers that was good, where he was named Prince. Why is it great? First of all, it's the longest Prince single disc album at 74 minutes and 56 seconds, doubling the runtime of the bullshit I just mentioned earlier. And it's probably his most creative album since Sign of the Times. It was a rock opera for some fool named Victor. It was also the introduction of Preposterous Prince, but we won't get into that. But quite frankly, this had so many jams. Tracks You Simple Suckers Love, 7, Sexy Motherfucker, Damn You, and God Created Woman. Gems That Need a Publicist, Blue Light, I Want to Melt With You, Love to the Nines. This was a seminal Prince album of the 90s.
And don't forget, that's when he had the little gun microphone.
Yeah, he had the gun microphone. It was the golden gun microphone.
I was doing the most.
Kanisha, all these little details. All right, so let's talk about this before we go on any further and I give you more trivia. Kanisha,
if this the detail that you go into for albums 7, 6, and 5,
what's that?
We gonna be here for a while, huh?
No, we ain't gonna be here. I'm gonna wrap it up quickly
because we still got 4, 3.
Oh yeah, we're going late. This is
shit.
We are going late.
We knew this was gonna happen. Come on, he invited us on to talk about it.
Now, here's a funny thing. Now, Ty's right though. For me to have a succinct edit point, I don't bring in overtime or any extra stuff on the YouTube. So I will wrap it up. Mark it at 11:15. We'll wrap it up. Remember, we started at 9:07. So 2 hours and 10 minutes is kind of good. So we'll get to that.
Are you speaking producer mumbo jumbo?
I'm producing shit right now, Ty. I'm producing shit. And I still got to get my damn light turned on. Kanisha, you're the woman here, because I have a theory about that.
I am a woman, yes.
Yeah. I like women. I like women. My mom's a mother. That's cool. So
mine.
What is it about Prince?
Mine too. Weird, right?
What is it about Prince that speaks so well to women? Why do so many women of all different stripes love Prince? Because he's saying all these naughty things. Does he sort of understand the intricacies of how a woman receives information? Or what is it about Prince that touches you so much?
Oh, gee. Well, I think when we first met Prince, found out about Prince, he was just so different, so avant-garde. I think about him being on American Bandstand in that raincoat, that footage, and I think probably just it's weird. It's kind of like what Ty was saying, where he was like, Prince is still your woman and your man. Is the the androgyny of it. He was just a beautiful creature. Someone in the comments said his eyes so expressive, and some people just have this aura about them. They just exude sexiness, and it comes in all different shapes, sizes, colors, everything. And he just had it, and when I was young, I just thought he was just fascinating to watch in general. And then, as I became older, I was like, Prince could get it. So that was just kind of the.
Now, Kanisha, was that a practical? I've seen you. I know how tall you are. Prince is like 6'5",
yeah, he's tiny.
6'2", 5'2", 5'3". Mm-hmm. Is it really practical to want to sleep with a man that diminutive? Or is it just because of his sex appeal? Because he seems very clean. He's always fit. He never had a gut.
I think y'all know it'll be fun. It'll be like out of this. It'll be different.
I think
you won't even know what you're gonna get.
That would be an experience, and that's one where I'm 5'5", and I've dated men shorter than me.
That ain't a man.
Grown men.
Nah, I'm just joking. Someone mentioned something like that last night. Like sometimes
some people
like,
just
you
have
kind of
a vibe.
Riddle's taller than us, by the way. Riddle's taller than us. How tall are you, Riddle?
You gravitate
6'4".
6'4", yeah.
It came up in a panel last night that some people kind of gravitate towards people that can look good as a man or as a woman. And somebody used ASAP Rocky as an example, believe it or not. And it's just that unknown kind of like appeal that's there that just grabs you subconsciously.
I don't think I don't.
But he was like openly fine. Like even I said it. Like don't look. What do
you mean, Prince? It's the Jamie Foxx thing, right? Where he says he's like looking at a deer. He's just beautiful.
I felt that for real.
I mean, he was just he was one of the beautiful ones for sure. And, it was intentional, like he knew, some people just have that vibe. I don't know. I wouldn't agree and say that like everyone who could look good, either way as a man or a woman would, I think it was just Prince,
Well, Prince was also king of the light skin, so he's on light skin Rushmore. I mean, he knew every light skin trick in the book. He could get away with it. I know Ty has a certain type of mustache, but Prince could have a pencil stash and have a little Adolf Caesar with him, and just be just run women with his light skinness. That's his mutant power. He just has this.
Now, Afro Prince, I'm gonna have to say,
I think Thieves in the Temple.
It's a lot different, right?
Yeah, I was like, tie it back down, Prince. It's not working for you.
He didn't
with Afro Prince though, because is this like early in the career Afro Prince or later in the career Afro Prince?
Late Afro Prince, because by the time we saw him, he was press and curl Prince, like he had it,
Late Afro Prince he looked sick
at the end. Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah, he looked like he wasn't taking care of himself. He wasn't eating. He was working a lot.
He was very thin. You could tell too, and his clothes were drapey. Like you could tell.
I saw his makeup.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I have always thought that Prince looked like someone asked a woman to design a man, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like this right here."
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I don't know if I would design a man.
I don't think they would design like that, but I think a woman would design a man how she thinks a man would receive her. If you decide out that.
Nah,
Prince is like the beautiful experiment. He's handsome, but he wasn't masculine handsome. But at no one point did we ever say, boy, that joke is gay. I didn't ever say that. He loved women too much. Well, Ty is looking like.
Ty was like.
Now there's some gay shit going on. There's a scene in Under the Cherry Moon where he's in the bathtub. He's in the bathtub and Jerome is throwing rose petals in him. And I'm like, this is the gayest fucking scene I've ever seen.
But Jerome was like, he wasn't like,
don't leave me, guys. Actually, I don't care.
early on, I did. I remember being young and not fully even understanding the concept of gay, and being like he looked so much like a woman. I also had this incredible moment with Boy George where I was trying to figure out, I was like, looks like a woman, name is Boy. I really don't understand what was going on. Prince was almost in that exact same thing, also as well as David Bowie. But
the androgynous 80s. The androgynous 80s.
But also I noticed something. I believe it's a line in Lady Cab Driver. This is the first time I have noticed this, where he says, maybe it's not Lady Cab Driver. One thing that struck me as I was listening was how many songs Prince mentioned how lonely he was. And I was just like, oh my God, like, think of how much of a musical genius this man was. Like, what's going on in his head? I bet he was lonely. Like, it's hard to express that in a way in which people can understand it and you really connect with someone. But there was one song, and I think it was Lady Cab Driver, I might be wrong, where there was a line where he said, have you ever been so lonely that you'll take anyone, a boy or a girl? And that was the first time I had noticed that. And I was like, oh my God, like maybe there was something more here to Prince that I didn't really realize.
Well, Prince, there was someone who was it? Was it Van Jones? And I'm not getting to Van Jones.
You didn't have to make that.
Did someone see my face?
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. I mean,
but I'm a fan of Prince. I'm a big supporter, and we were big.
He cried too.
And so what he said was, Prince one time held his hand and said, you know, when a guy holds your hand, it's like, ew, a guy's holding my hand. But when it's a person who's your friend, he holds your hand. Well, the way Van introduced this story, this conversation was like, Prince is 500% heterosexual, but he even understood the way guys sort of heterosexual guys recoil at the thought of being with another guy. Not casting aspersions about other people's lifestyles. Just saying, if you're heterosexual, you're not trying to get with another dude.
Yeah.
And Prince acknowledged that. But then he said something to Van that was like very ethereal. Prince always left you with something that was hanging in the ether, and it took you a second for that shit to come down after he left. In the midst of what he said, strikes you, if that makes any sense. I think that has a lot to do with I think he was constantly searching for the meaning of life. A third of his songs were about God. Even the songs that people think were not about God were about God, including "Let's Go Crazy" and other songs like that. I think he was very lonely, like you said, Riddle, and he died alone. He had 2 wives. They were young bunnies, and they didn't really know who the fuck they were with. And I got a feeling he just felt empty every time he came home. And he loved Maite until their baby died. And it's like, well, what more do we have to talk about?
That's hard on people, though.
Yeah, that is a very hard thing.
Yeah, it's a way difficult thing. My mother lost my brother. My brother died, but it wasn't that immediate. He at least found 1 year of age. No, how old was Gregory, guys? Prince's son, that he never showed us.
Age gap was tough though. It had to have been tough though on him.
It's a huge age gap, but no one told him to have the age gap.
Huh? Yeah.
No one told Prince to have that
He
age
was like a little.
gap.
Yeah. You said it.
Yeah. Then I gotta do Shawn Says, and then we could button up this. Purple Rain is my number 4. Number 4 is Purple Rain. Just period. I mean, it's his popular opus, but whatever. Yeah, 1999 before Purple Rain is a way better album. It's a fantastic album. And I don't need, this is what I tell people about Beyonce and her last few albums. She's had to have video movies released on Apple or whatever to sell the songs, which aren't fucking songs. They're chants. They're like Hachi Liberace, Chant, 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 they're not even fully realized songs as far as like songwriting goes. I know some people may hate me, but I'm just saying, Beyonce has not written an actual song in 6 years.
One delay.
Yeah. Hey, everyone be quiet. I'm going to mute everybody. It's a Shawn Show. Let me get this point out real quick. Not to bang on Beyonce, but what I'm saying is Prince used Purple Rain to sell that album of songs. And so we saw the narrative arc of it. 1999 does not need videos. And it's still, to me, a stellar sonic achievement.
Yeah.
Number 2, it's Parade. Parade, I almost put that motherfucker number 1. Parade is the perfect combination of black folks love Prince and white folks like Prince. They don't love Prince, they like Prince. And the rock and the funk, that motherfucker right there. And that's from the Kiss shoots. But that see, she's armed and ready. She's we don't need to see his minuscule nipples. his pipples, if you will. But that motherfucker Prince and Parade, that's an almost damn near perfect album. Because like you said, Riddle, in earlier albums, it has musical interludes. It has a ditty. Do You Lie changes. When I away in my own how I do for you. I said it was like a trip to Nice, France, dipped in a bottle of funk. That's the album.
It was a stroll.
It's a stroll through all of it. Yeah. And of course, it gave us his eulogy. Sometimes it snows in April. That's his eulogy. Let me hurry up before this thing runs out of battery. And of course, Sign of the Times. Now, Ty, if there's any album you want to move on to from Purple Rain, drink, indulge, Sign of the Times. And for you people here, it's on Tubi. It's the only place you can find it, and it's free. Go to Tubi, download TUBI, put into the search engine, Sign O the Times. You will see one of the, arguably the greatest concert movies you will ever see. This side of David Byrne's movie for Talking Heads.
Eric made Troy made a great comment in the comments there. He was talking about Starfish and Coffee, and it said it didn't have a hook. And you think about this, it's just a pure story, just lyrical.
And shout out to Eric Troy.
Better than Sly does, because Sly's "If You Want Me to Stay" is a true song without a chorus.
Yeah. But, shout out to Eric Troy. That's my homeboy from Akron.
Okay, he's dropping some really.
He is a true Prince lover. Like Shawn, like I love being here. I'm glad you asked me. But if you had known Eric Troy, you'd picked him over me. Like, for real.
Damn sure would have picked him over me.
I don't know why I'm still in here. I'm like,
I felt like I'm doing Prince fans a disservice right now.
I'm still here.
You still up? All right. So before I acknowledge this Ty's foolishness, which is proper, by the way, that's why I love Ty. Kanisha, do your sons, these stud athlete sons that you have, are they in the Prince realm right now?
They'll endure a couple of songs here and there, but no.
They don't know what they're listening to, do they?
So they like some songs, and but we bond probably more over like old school hip hop and Michael Jackson. But they both grew up playing instruments, and so they can appreciate the musician and the artistry component. But they're probably more on the Michael Jackson side and like old school hip hop.
Is it because Prince, like this is a dude's thing too, and Ty, I think you can participate in this too. When I've seen Mint Condition and I've seen Tony, like those were the preeminent bands if you were black in the 90s. The preeminent black bands. Like I saw some other bands because I went to
spending all my time pleasing you.
Yes. I got some trivia too that might tie into this. But real quick, do you think that playing instruments and his ability to do all that, at last count, they said it was 26 instruments. Does that make his legend bigger in some respects than Michael Jackson, or what? What do you guys think?
I feel like it makes you take him for granted, you know, because you don't take that into consideration, and the fact that when you listen to his songs, it was probably like Quincy Jones, like he probably played a part in all of his music. You know, like the background, chorus, the beat, the drums, that's probably all him. You know, but you're not thinking about that, you know, when you're not thinking about the amount of instruments he's playing. You're thinking it's just him on vocals, and that's it.
Well, he did play all the instruments when he gave a cassette tape to the Bengals for Manic Monday. Manic Monday, by the way, guys, he wrote that. He wrote a lot of songs that you guys don't realize, but just another Manic Monday. And I saw an interview where the Bengals were like, yeah, he gave it to us, but he was like, you could either sing over my music, or, you know, play the instruments yourself. And he was surprised that they actually decided to sing, to do the instrumentation themselves, because they were a legit group. But with that said, the difference between Prince's Manic Monday and the Bengals Manic Monday is the equivalent of me taking Ty's test paper, erasing his name, and writing Shawn on that shit. They didn't do anything.
No.
Them bras act like they added some salt, some pepper, some hard moss, some smoked turkey leg. They didn't do any of that shit. They didn't do any of that. Now,
so
I know he was banging Susanna Hoffs, or trying to.
You know, speaking about Prince and how great of a musician he was in terms of all of the different instruments he played, when he died, two of the stories that kind of stood out to me that were just kind of like, I feel like it highlighted how much respect other musicians had for him, was the heartfelt expression and tribute that Bruce Springsteen gave him. And then my favorite story that came out of it was, oh God, what's his name from ZZ Top? Was
Not the dude who just died. Not the dude who just died.
Billy Gibbons, the guitar player from ZZ Top, told the story about how one night he went out. He after a concert, he went to a club, and Buffalo Trace.
Carry on.
So Billy Gibbons goes out. He goes to a club, and I can't remember, like there was a band that was playing or something like that he wanted to check out. But he's checking out this band, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and was like, "Hey, Prince is here. He wants to have a word with you." And he was like, "Oh my God, like what is going on here?" So he goes over to Prince. Prince has like a whole area in this club to himself, and there's nobody there but him and the bodyguard. He is sitting by himself in a giant suite inside the club. Billy Gibbons sits down, and instantly Prince starts talking to him about different guitar playing that he had done on ZZ Top albums. And he said, like, they sat there for hours, strictly just talking about guitar, nothing else. Like, they connected in that sort of way. And so, like, this is, you know, we think of Prince as kind of like this R&B star, like he's soul, he's all of this. But within the world, not only within those worlds, but within the world of rock and roll, within the world of hip hop, all of these people have the utmost respect for this man. And it's because you can connect with him on many different levels. You can connect with him as a singer. You can connect with him as a guitar player. A lot of people don't realize, like, he was an incredible drummer. Like, there is, if you are into music in any sort of way, there is a version of Prince for you to connect with.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kanisha.
I'm not sure about your, you know, you said Michael Jackson was more Prince musician. What, you don't want me to talk about this?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to, I see where you're coming from, and I think he was a penultimate musician. but he also had that entertainer vibe. I mean, the influence with James Brown, the splits, and that's why he had both hips replaced, and that's.
Did he have both hips replaced?
I thought he had both. Did he just have one?
Wait till Shawn Says in 5 minutes, lady.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think I think he did really want to put on a show with the dancers. The cat scat, like all these different things. They're
Cat was fine as shit. Cat. At first, I thought she looked like a man because she was in so much shape. As a little boy, you're like, this man looking woman. Bro, this fucking. I looked at her again. I ain't seen Sign of the Times in so long. You graffiti bridge, like, this broad is fucking hot. I was an idiot as a kid. I'm sorry, I interrupted your point.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you watched more Prince or videos or whatever, you would see that kind of that showmanship coming through too. He was doing a lot in those heels.
Oh yeah.
Let's get to that. So this will probably be. I'm gonna finish it off with Shawn Says here, and then whoever's still on the line, we record that. It might be a two-parter because
11 minutes over, bro.
Because we ain't doing nothing. We ain't doing nothing next week, Ty. I'll send you the schedule if you're able to join me as my wingman. But it's mostly all of May, and then we take a summer break because we got to be in these streets.
You got to be in them streets.
Yeah. You don't need to be in them streets no more.
No.
I ran into Shawn on the street, so I was like,
you ran into me
at the beauty supply store.
Prince hair dye.
I'll throw you some alley-oops, Shawn.
Real quick.
Shawn, I'll dribble up court, get to the 3-point line.
Just pass the ball. Just pass the rock, Ty. Just pass the
Throw you an alley-oop.
Yeah, because
I can do that.
You can't take it to the hole no more. You can't take it to the hole.
Nah. I get to the half court line. I'm calling the offense.
Which one of y'all's team blouses then? Is that
So there's so much to talk about Prince. We can't squeeze it into a 2.5 show. But it's 11:27. We can do it in a 2.5-hour show and then have overtime afterwards for all those who want to participate. With that said, I'm gonna read my Shawn Says. And this is a special, Ty, so don't kill me. That's why I didn't have Ira's music queued up. That's why I didn't have the board queued up. Except for your name. Your name's always on there. You know that? Your name's always on there, Ty.
It says
your name is always on there too.
It's the Shawn Show.
Anti.
And Ty goes along for kicks. But everyone be quiet. I'm gonna read this real quick and then we'll talk about this on the other side and that'll be our cut point. All right? Thank you. This is called Snowfall. All right. I can't get over how Prince died. He was found dead of fentanyl overdose in an elevator in his Paisley Park compound outside of Minneapolis. After years of splits, dancing in heels, jumping off of pianos, performing to the nines in his own nomenclature, Prince needed new hips. But around the time of his split from the Warner Brothers, Prince was at his most vulnerable place. And that's when he fell in with a new set of friends, namely guitarist Larry Graham, who would teach him about the ways of Jehovah's Witnesses. And then Prince became a Jehovah's Witness. And since the faith did not allow for blood transfusions, Prince, we believe, shunned a much-needed double hip surgery. Instead, if you noticed in his latter years, he did sport canes. Lavish canes, but canes nonetheless. He continued to work. He maintained a grueling tour schedule up until his death. But the more pain he endured because of those hips, the more he clung to his newfound faith. In fact, Prince, and this is no joke, knocked on doors as one Minnesota woman named Rochelle told the St. Paul Star-Tribune years ago. And he introduced himself as Prince Nelson. And alongside him was Larry Graham. The woman, who was Jewish, thought Prince wanted to use her and her husband's large house for a set, just like they comically did for basketball star Carlos Boozer's in advance of his 3121 album, where they wrecked the place and ultimately had to restore the place at $1 million a pop afterwards. Ooh. But no, Prince, like a good witness does, was armed with Watchtower magazines and his purple persistence. He and Graham tried to proselytize the woman for 30 minutes. He then left the Watchtowers. He and Graham teamed into a large black SUV and they left. That is a most fantastic story about one of the greatest musical icons of his generation. Faith was always a big part of Prince's music. From songs like Holy River to the Cross, dude's music could go from Christ to cock faster than any red Corvette could take you. But with this religious conversion coming at the turn of the century, one could see its influence in his output thereafter, starting with 2001's preachy The Rainbow Children. Not a good album. People could say men like Prince, who was notoriously known for marathon jam sessions, 20-hour workdays, and sleepless nights, died for his art. But it's actually clear that he died for his faith. He was in constant pain, hence the development of fentanyl addiction for a man that wasn't known for drinking alcohol or taking drugs of any kind. Had Prince not joined the faith, it is easy to conceive that he would have approved of surgical procedures which will alleviate his pain and given him 2 new hips to work with. But again, Prince died for his faith. Yes, he lived his life for music. Ever since the age of 7, he said. But his music often ran themes of a man searching, longing for answers, for clarity, for what he would call the truth. Even in the naughtiness of a song like Erotic City, Prince acknowledged all of his purple life. He'd been searching for a dame that was gonna be his wife. That's not the song of a player or a scalawag. As that was his intention, man, he ended up having 2 wives in his lifetime. One son who died, a baby with a big disease with a weird name. And then, to paraphrase his own lyrics in Let's Go Crazy, the D elevator brought him down to his earthly end. And on April 21st, 2016, in an elevator at Paisley Park, snow fell in April. A pop star loved his music, but he loved his God more, and he died for it. And in the end, what is better than that to a true believer of anything? For the good book says, there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for a friend. But to lay down your life for a belief, now we're talking martyr stuff. And something tells me that's the way Prince lived his final 15 years after his conversion. He didn't care what we thought as fans of what he should do or what would be good. Because Prince was blessed with so much, but he left us so much, and yet we wish we had more. But he already wrote it in the songs. Sometimes it snows in April, and sometimes it feels so bad. Sometimes I wish that life was never ending. But all good things, they say, never last. In loving memory and celebration of one Prince Rogers Nelson, may you, sir, continue to see the dawn, and may we revel in your memory. This concludes the Shawn Show. That's been Shawn Says. This is the cut point, and we will continue for those who want to continue to talk to us, and this is overtime starting right now.